So the guys have asked me to do a recap of what we discussed in our Summit End User Computing presentation. And, there was a lot of takeaways. We talked about TCO, we talked about business agility, everybody's heard that. But one of the best things we talked about in the Summit is the top 10 ways to kill your VDI project. And if I was going to recap anything to anybody, I like to go over the top 10 list. That's one of the biggest ways I see a lot of people killing VDI initiatives. They'll get with their storage vendor and they don't understand their applications. And the storage vendor will sell them things like, oh, we do some auto tiering, but if you're doing non-persistent desktop, it doesn't matter. Or they try to sell you, things like, oh, we'll divide the OS image. So a lot of what we covered in the session is what to look for, how to interview your storage vendor, which is very helpful when you're actually looking to do VDI, because what you're going to have is a lot of people that want to sell you hardware, and at the end of the day, we're delivering applications, which brings me to number 2 of our top 10 list. Don't worry about what product is going to deliver your desktop. I see too many of these discussions when I walk into places. We're discussing VMware View, we're discussing Citrix, we're talking RDP, we're talking Remote Desktop Protocol by Microsoft, and we're completely ignoring the fact that we have to deliver an application that needs some functionality for the end user. And a lot of the initiatives that I see are so name-driven instead of application-driven. I was at a hospital the other day and I was given a presentation for a large medical deployment we're doing for them. And one of the doctors said, he's like, why are you guys so radically different? And I said, well, do lawsuits mean anything to you? And he says, what do you mean? I said, well, the specific application you're delivering requires a screen size of X amount of resolution to display drug and allergy alerts when they occur. So when the doctor enters in a bad drug, it pops up on the screen. Well, the other vendors were doing nothing to ensure when that application launched that the end user was capable of displaying those settings. So, we get too tied up in protocols and bandwidth and everything else, and we really got to discuss, wait a second, I got to deliver this widget, whatever it is, to the end user. Do they need printing? Do they need screen graphics? Do they need, some specialized card in the back-end server? So a lot of that gets lost and a lot of that gets, thrown away, and then the end users feel like you're taking away something from them rather than giving them something. The next thing is set yourself up with a success criteria. I mean, so often you're doing a POC deployment and they hand out the applications and they go, did you like them or not? That is just so vague. Rather than, hey, listen, these are the applications we're going to serve the user as an end user computing. These are the capabilities that we have to deliver to the end user. I want to see checkboxes. Did we achieve that or did we not achieve that? The other thing we hear in top 10 is VDI is too expensive. Yeah. If you deliver everybody a desktop, yes, it's too expensive. But when you take it, abstract it, what are we really doing? We're giving application delivery. So if we can look at some applications we deliver, let's say virtualized, some applications we deliver through non-persistent desktops. It's the blend of the whole business applications and the way we deliver them that ultimately decides the TCO, instead of the argument that I consistently get into is cost per desktop. That is just no way to have a successful deployment. The other biggest thing that we're seeing in use case for VDI is, pick a use case that, is, let's say, 90% of your business. I have too many people say, well, we need to base our TCO, let's say, off our developer community. And that's the worst kind of desktop to base your business case off of. And I see too many people go in and they'll take their worst use case and that's what they pilot for their POC. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is give businesses agility and flexibility. And if you start calculating those costs, that's a huge benefit to a lot of businesses. Just having the agility to onboard workers, offboard workers, have them work wherever they want, or the availability to turn over computers. So often I see a customer that's going out doing physical deployments, ripping and replacing desktops. Really, the concept of BYOD, the reason it's great is you don't have to deal with the endpoint. And the endpoint becomes something that's a commodity-based item that you really don't have to maintain, patch, or do anything with. And if you can deliver applications to that endpoint and you can deliver them from your central data center, that's resources you can put in your data center. And you don't have to worry about hardware refreshes, if Microsoft is going to end support for XP. All those worries kind of go away, and you don't have these massive capital uplifts every time someone decides to switch an OS or standardize on an OS, because you're not dealing with all those endpoints. And last, I want to end the note. A lot of customers asked, are they ready for cloud, or can I do VDI in the cloud? And the answer is no, unless your applications are in the cloud. What you need to notice is VDI is great just because the devices are co-located with the actual application servers. And that's a great use case for it. So if any customer is considering doing VDI in the cloud, what they're going to want to do is move their applications to the cloud first and then start implementing a VDI deployment in the cloud. Now, the sad news is not many providers can do VDI in the cloud. The cloud really is not geared for the type of I/O, the type of requirements necessary for a desktop deployment. So any customer doing it should probably consider a limited deployment to the cloud, just so they can access it or have business continuity reasons and still look at doing traditional VDI in their data centers. And that's pretty much it.